it allowed me to ask the deeper questions. And the question I sat with way back then was, do I want to go through the rest of my life afraid? Do I want to be afraid of being myself? Do I want to be afraid of what others think of me? And I got a resounding no. And I've come to understand that self-awareness is our greatest superpower.
Buckle up for a new episode of the S.H.E podcast, the show where we have real and raw conversations to inspire and empower you to be seen and heard so you can create balance and everything you want in your life and business. I'm your host, Heidi S.H.E, and I'm excited to walk alongside of you on this journey of being seen, heard, and empowered. Welcome to the S.H.E podcast. Be seen, be heard, be empowered. I'm your host, Heidi S.H.E, and I'm excited to have you joining us today. This is a really special podcast for me because I have a special guest, which I'm really excited to be talking with her today. She wrote a book, and I don't usually get emotionally charged, or I don't know if charged is the right word, but I don't usually get so entrenched in a book as I've gotten in just a little that I read. Full transparency, I haven't read in her entire book, but I'm going to tell you right now, based on what I've read so far, this is a must read, and I can't wait to dig my eyes and my time into more of it. So without further ado, welcome Robin Ferguson to the S.H.E podcast.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I'm just delighted to be with you.
I'm delighted to have you. And Robin, before we dive in, I want to just give everybody a little background about you before we have this incredible conversation about you, what you do, how you got here, and obviously this incredible book. So Robin Ferguson is a leading voice in the field of personal transformation and serves as an unwavering advocate for living life authentically, offering people permission to be human while challenging everyone to live a life of passion and purpose. As a master coach, she empowers individuals, leaders, and organizations to embrace their full potential. Robin's unique perspective is shaped by her diverse background as an organizational leader, coach, interfaith minister, and nurse, blending hard-earned wisdom with deep compassion. She supports women in finding more balance, boundaries, and bravery, some of the things I'm working on, inviting them to put themselves at the top of their priority list. She is also the author of The Phoenix Effect, which we're going to be talking about. The Phoenix Effect: Transcend Limitation and Ignite the Power Within You, a revolutionary approach to self-empowerment. Based on all the work you do and everything that you've created in your life, you getting here, is this a path that you needed to navigate yourself that got you to where you are, or is this just something that you always knew you were led to do and called to do and that you're doing now?
Yeah, I've always had this sort of inner connection that has driven me. So I'm not someone that sets 5 and 10 year goals. I'm really someone who listens to my gut. And that's based in kind of my feelings of connections to the universe and life, and feel like when a door opens and it feels like one I need to walk through, then I go through it. And I don't always know where it's taking me, so I just trust that, and it's always worked out. So it's been a winding path to get here, but every experience I've had along the way has really served to bring me to this work, to coaching that I do, and things that I wrote about in the book.
So in your bio that I just shared with everyone, you are a master coach. So can you tell us what that means?
Yeah. In the professional coaching world, the International Coaching Federation is our governing body. It's a worldwide coaching organization that guides us professionally with competencies and a set of ethics. And there's a variety of levels that you can reach as a coach. The master credentialing is the highest level of coaching, which means I've had over 2,500 hours of coaching, have gone through the significant education, testing, et cetera, that led to that credential. So it's been 15 plus years in the making.
Oh, that's a long journey and a lot of hours behind you. So you know your stuff. And I think that's important. I wanted to make sure we shared that because you can go and talk with coaches But there's different levels of coaching. So when you really want to get support, you want to make sure like you're checking the background, which we'll talk about. We talked about your book a little bit. Before we dive into that, you talked about trusting your gut. And for me personally, this is something that as a doer, as a person that has to check off the boxes, and somebody that, yes, I get my intuition will kick in, but I don't always trust it. You've always trusted that. Can you share with the women that are listening who may be more like me, like, how do you do that? How do we lean into it being okay to trust our gut and trust ourselves?
Yeah, I think part of what we're going to talk about with the book is sifting through that chatter that comes in that's based on old stories or things that external forces around us that tell us who we should be, who we shouldn't be, how we should act, how we should show up. And so sifting through that and getting to the place where you really are doing some deep listening. For me, I practice mindfulness. I'm also rooted in positive psychology. And so some of that just getting still and really listening and tuning in. And then it becomes a matter of taking courageous steps. Our brains are wired to keep us safe. And so we have to understand that and know that as we start to take courageous steps, as we follow our intuition, that we're going to have some inner chatter show up and we're going to have those voices that say, what the heck are you doing? What are you thinking? Who are you to do this? And we just can acknowledge that. That's part of our human experience, appreciate it for what it's meant for keeping us safe, and take a step anyway. And so for me, it's when you do that over time, then you start to really trust in yourself and trust that when you take those steps and don't listen to the negative voices or the inner chatter that sometimes shows up, you move anyway, then you build that strength and that courage.
You mentioned the book, and we're going to dive into that. I usually ask my guests to talk about their biggest challenge, but I know that you go into it in the book. So let's just go, instead of going to that question, because we'll get to that, let's just dive right into the Phoenix effect, transcend limitation and ignite the power within you. What inspired you to write this book? Like, what was your why?
Well, I think it's unfolded over time. It started with a personal transformation of my own, and then subsequently 15 years of working with individuals as they've transformed their life. As we look at just the title, the Phoenix, that story is an ancient story of a bird that lives 500 years. At the end of its life, builds a nest, starts to, instead of laying eggs, it starts to ignite the nest and basically burn itself to ashes. And the story goes that the breath of life breathes over the ashes and resurrects the phoenix in this glorious, amazing way. And so when we look at this idea of personal transformation, it really is about breaking down the false ideas we have about ourselves, the messages that maybe served us at some point but don't serve us anymore, and we look at how we want to write our narrative going forward and who we want to be. And so this idea of reinvention is very personal to me. And throughout my life, I've practiced that. I share a story in the book about being in sixth grade, and I was a kid who moved all the time. I was very shy and introverted, if you can imagine that. And so I was always the new kid in school. So I learned pretty quickly to look outside of myself for how to define myself. What would it take? What do these people expect of me in order to belong or fit in? And so all that twisting and morphing myself to be something other people expected me to be, by the time I got to college, I was exhausted. I had horrible anxiety. And so I really started a deep inner quest that certainly was supported by therapists and books and retreats and a lot of journaling and a lot of meditation and things like that. But it really it allowed me to ask the deeper questions. And the question I sat with way back then was, do I want to go through the rest of my life afraid? Do I want to be afraid of being myself? Do I want to be afraid of what others think of me? And I got a resounding no. And it took time and a process, and I'm still working on it. I'm on this journey just as I write this book. I try to make it clear I'm not the master here. I am on the journey with you. But it has led me to a place of awareness where I've come to understand that self-awareness is our greatest superpower. And so that's the symbology of the phoenix is really embedded in that idea of self-transformation that feels very personal.
Yeah, what you just said really resounded with me or landed with me because I'm on a journey too of I help people be visible and I love doing that. But we're always not as good at doing it for ourselves as we are for other people, right? So I love that you share that you're on this journey too. Just because you wrote the book doesn't mean you're a master of it. We're all on this journey together. Some people may be a little further ahead, and that's okay, but at least we can do what we've learned to inspire others. So I still, even with all the visibility that I love giving my clients, I still have a fear of being seen, of being heard. And I'm on the path every day of figuring out how to empower myself of being seen and heard. So in moving through that fear, which is why I love this podcast and I love having guests like you on the show who are also moving through that, because I think we're forever evolving and forever growing. I don't think we ever master anything. That's why we're on this path called life, right?
Right.
And in your book, you say the truth is you are meant to live a life of purpose and fulfillment. You have a unique makeup of attributes that you and only you can offer the world. And I love this quote, or love what you said here, because I feel, and I've talked to clients and I felt this myself. Oh, other people are doing what I'm doing. Other people are doing it. They've already done it. Who am I to add value to that? And I don't want to, like, what difference can I make? And you sharing your story and your journey in this, you're showing people that yes, other people may be on a similar path, but that your path is unique to you. You have your own story, you have your own journey. And then you say you are more powerful than you realize and wiser than you don't have to feel strong or courageous or even inspired. All you have to be is willing. So what does that mean? All you have to be is willing.
Yeah, I think we end up overwhelming ourselves sometimes as we make changes in our lives, or we have dreams or intentions about who we want to be or what we want to accomplish. And we don't always know how to get there. And we're not supposed to know how to get there. It's one step at a time. So as you take a step, the step in front of you will be revealed. So for me to show up every day willing, that's very different than showing up needing to have all the answers or needing to know where this particular journey is taking me. And when I come from a place of willingness, then people will show up to help you. People will show up with the right answers, the right resources. But if we are so fixated on our own idea of how to get somewhere, and this is where kind of the goal setting comes in, sometimes when we have a goal, we get so fixated on the steps to get there, we miss the opportunities that show up in front of us because we're like, well, that doesn't fit this idea of where
Right.
I'm going or what I should be doing. And so willingness is just being open to life, having an intention. And I talk about intention being very different than a goal. And there's nothing wrong with having goals, but stay open in that process. What's the intention behind the goal? So if
Mm.
your intention is to make a difference, that's what I start my morning with is my intention is to make a difference on this planet and have a positive impact in people's lives. If that's my intention, then I'm open to all the ways I can do that. And it may be in the grocery store, it may be on a podcast, it may be through a book, whatever that looks like. So that just idea of willingness creates an openness and it takes off the pressure. It takes the pressure off to have it all figured out because I
Mm.
certainly don't. I mean, I didn't get the handbook when I came into this world about how to navigate life. To approach it with willingness seems a lot easier to me than to approach it with having all the answers.
I love that you talk about there's so many stories inside of this book, which I'm intrigued about. And I'm only reading a small portion of it so far. But I love all the stories and the vulnerability that you share. And I love that sharing the fact of being willing, of opening yourself up. When I hear you speak just now, I'm thinking about open to receive, right? Being open to receive, being flexible. And we always hear about the importance of goal setting. We're in the second half of the year as we're recording this. People are talking about, oh, are you on track to achieving your goals? What are the goals that you set for yourself in January? Where are you now? It's important to kind of revisit that. And I like that you brought in the fact of intention. Yes, it's nice to have goals and you get to be flexible. And you reminded me of how this podcast came to fruition because I had a goal. I had a vision board set up for, I think it was in 2022, I think it was, if I'm remembering correctly. And I was like, I'm going to create a podcast by the end of the year on my vision board. And November came around. It didn't happen. And I was like, you haven't looked at it's obvious you haven't looked at your vision board in a while. And I literally had just met somebody in October who was a producer. So I reached out to her and I said to her, can we get this done? Can we make this happen? She goes, absolutely. We can make it happen by the end of the year. That's what I was focused on, Robin, getting it done by the end of the year. That was because I had a goal, right? Just like you were saying.
Yeah.
But I didn't really have the intention behind it of what I wanted for this podcast or the mission that I wanted to have or the impact I wanted it to have in the world, because I wasn't clear on that. All I knew is I'm supposed to be doing this. People told me to set a goal. Now I've got to get it done. So I reached out to her. We said, yes, we can do it. And we had everything planned. We had the target audience, which was different than this audience. It's not completely different. It was mompreneurs. Now it's females, women in general, not just female entrepreneurs, mompreneurs, but women. It was all around business, which this still is focused on business, but not completely. And I was like, when I was going through it, I was like, okay, we had all these things planned. We had the deadline set. I was going to meet it. And I was all excited. And then I just kept feeling this feeling, like you said, you live by your gut. I struggled with that most of my life. I just had the plan, the check the boxes, get things done. And in this moment, talking with you, I was like, no, something's wrong. Something's off. I'm not going to just stick this square peg into this round hole, which I would normally do to get to check the box that I got it done. And I reached out to her. I said, can we postpone this? And she's like, absolutely. It's your podcast. So we put it on hold, and we were not going to meet the deadline at the end of December. So I was away end of December with my children and family on a girls' trip. And well, my son was there, but it was my mom, my sister, my niece, my daughter, and my son. We were going away for the holiday around New Year's. And I woke up in the hotel room, and it was like, be she, be seen, be heard, be empowered. And it was all about visibility, all about empowerment, all about stepping through your fear. Things that you, like you said, this book is You're Not the Master, things I'm not the master of, but I'm wanting to support other women along my journey of empowering myself to be seen and heard, empowering you, empowering other women to do the same. So thank you for writing this book. Thank you. And for those of you listening, I can't even share with you how much you should read this book, because I'm only a couple chapters in and I'm like, oh my gosh, I have to have more. And you share a powerful journey about your story, not journey, but a journey for you around your son being on stage. And I loved it because my son was on stage. I was on stage. We love musical theater. We love theater. So this story was just like chapter one. I was like, oh my gosh, this is meant for me. And I think many of you listening right now, when you read this book, you're going to feel the same, like, oh my gosh, she's speaking to me. This was meant for me. So can you tell us a little bit about that? Because I literally was crying. I had tears in my eyes. I'm like fixing my makeup before my next call as I'm reading it. So yeah, thank you. I just wanted to take the moment to just say thank you for all of that you poured into this book, because this book is different. And like you say in the prologue, if that's what it's called, prologue, that it's not a book. It's a journey, and it truly is a journey.
Yeah. Well, and I want to honor you for trusting your gut too about timing. Just to say a little bit about that, I think we can have goals, we can have ideas about where we're headed, and it doesn't mean that if we have to put that on pause, that it's not going to happen. Sometimes we're being prepared, and we don't realize we're being prepared. And like I said, I've had this idea, this book probably started 10 years ago. But
Wow.
last October, all of a sudden it was like now. I mean, I just got clearly now. And if I had written it 10 years ago, I wouldn't have had the preparation and the experience and the wisdom that I have at this point in life to write that. So I honor you for following your gut. And yeah, the story that I start in the book, my son was in a play in high school, and it was a very intense subject matter. And so my son was playing actually a character that got murdered. And the mother sitting in front of me, her son was playing the murderer. And so, as you can imagine, as mothers, we were like intensely in this story with them, and it was very emotional. And so we leave the auditorium and we're sharing Kleenex and our eyes are red and we're just in this emotionally intense place. And we come around the corner and look down the hallway and there's our boys. And they're laughing and they're high-fiving each other and they're getting flowers from girls and they're taking in all the attention and the accolades that come with that. And it just gave me pause. And I thought, wow, this is exactly how we move through life and how we can approach life. When we are in an experience, we are method actors. We are intensely in the part and we are in the scene and we are feeling everything that comes with that unfolding. But at any point in time, we can step into the hallway and we can take a more objective look at what's going on. For me, I do that through mindfulness, through meditation. Sometimes it's just let me write about this or let me have a conversation with a friend about this, but let me step out of this and begin to look at my life as if it's this unfolding narrative. And if I step back and I think about my life as this play that's unfolding, I can start to look at, okay, where is this character, this role that I'm in? Where's it going? What has shaped the character? What has influenced it? What are the other characters in the scene with me? Are they supporting my role? Or do they maybe need to be written out? And is this character moving in the direction I want it to move in? And if not, how can I rewrite my narrative? How can I begin to unfold my story in a different direction? And
Mm.
it really is about taking back our power and understanding that we are not victims. We are not just standing by watching something unfold. We have the power to write our narrative. And sometimes we have to rewrite it, and sometimes we have to rewrite it again, and that's okay. We learn through every scene, through every experience, who we're becoming, and we can make choices about that. So being able to step back and take a less personal look, a more objective look, that is the process I try to take people through in the book so that they can get a little more objectivity when they look at everything they've been through and how they can take the wisdom from that and use that to write whatever narrative they want going forward, to tell whatever story of their life they choose to tell.
Yeah, I know one thing as I was reading your chapters in your book, one huge takeaway that I had, and there's many, is that we are not a victim of our circumstances and we have a choice. We can choose to stay a victim of our circumstances, but that doesn't define who we are or where we get to go. Like fate, you are the creator of your destiny. And I think many people go, well, this is my fate. This is what I was born into. These are my circumstances, and there's no way out. And your book is a true, I don't know, neon sign saying no. Yes, you get to, this is part of your story and part of your journey, but it doesn't have to define what the end of your journey is or the end of your story. You are the creator, you are the writer, you have the pen, and you can choose what you want your story to be. Yeah.
Yeah, because when we come into the world, before we're ever born, our story is being written for us because we come into certain time periods, we come into family history, we come into expectations, we come into either celebration or disappointment, we come into all these things. And then throughout our life, we're shaped by our schooling, we're shaped by media. And so there's all these external messages telling us this is who you are. And if we don't stop and question that, we are living out some other person's version of our life, not our own.
Mm.
And so we have to really stop and look at that and do it with compassion, do it with grace, do it with humor, because the people that raise us don't have it all figured out either. But to be able to look at our history and to take the value out of it, to take the wisdom from that and take that part forward, but to let go of some of the stories that don't serve us. And
Yeah.
some of it just we need to let go of altogether. Other stories we go, well, that helped me survive for a period of time, or that helped me achieve something I wanted to achieve, but that's not who I am anymore. So let me learn from that, but let it go. And who do I want to be going forward? I get to choose.
Yeah, that's so good. I love that you just said that. Like, who do I want to be going forward? Like, that got me through this. It's not who I want to be anymore. And we get to grow and evolve. And I worked with female entrepreneurs, and now we do all the back end systems for businesses. And our business has grown and evolved. If I look back on my business 7 years ago, I'm not where I was 7 years ago. I've pivoted and I've made multiple direction changes, and that's okay. There's nothing to be, it doesn't mean it's bad. It just means that those were the pivots that needed to be made, but I couldn't make those pivots if I didn't take the action to get started in the first place. And you talk about that in your book, the action that's important. It's important to take that action. Action brings clarity. You talk about that in your book as well. And your book also, Robin, is not just a read, it's actually an action plan. You put people into action. So can you tell us about that? Which I think that's what makes your book stand out to me in a big way as well. It's like you bring your journey, you bring your stories, you bring your vulnerability into it, but you also bring a direction and action steps to help people get clarity on what their next steps are.
Sure. I think wisdom is fantastic. And if we don't do anything with it, then it just stays with us. And I really come from a place of service to humanity. I think we are all compelled and hold a responsibility to have an impact in the world. And the greatest way we can do that is by doing our own work and creating a safe place within us. Then we create a safe place for other people. If we create a place, a field of kindness and acceptance within ourselves, then we automatically are that out in the world. And so once you go through that process and you start to rewrite your narrative, it's okay, I do have a unique story. I do have a unique purpose here. How can I use that to positively impact my life? How can I use that to help achieve goals that feel authentic to me and aren't driven by some past expectation? And how can I maybe be in service and use that to impact others, even if it's just by being a more positive, authentic presence in the world? So I think that it is so important to do something with that. Not immediately. This is a process. And I talk about in the book, you get to the point where you start to deconstruct yourself, and then you have to sit with that for a little bit and go, okay, who am I? And maybe you don't know right away. So you take some time with that. But once you start to figure that out, and once you start to say, what does living an authentic and purposeful life look like for me? Then you take that out into the world in some kind of action in your life, creating that life that you have dreamed of, that life that you want to live, that impact you want to make. And I was just reading that the average person will interact with 80,000 people in the world by the time they die. So
Wow.
when we think about, well, who am I to make a difference? Okay, you're impacting at least 80,000 people in your lifetime. That's pretty powerful. That's pretty
Yeah.
darn powerful. I really do believe in the inherent value of each individual, and no one else has our story. No one else brings the same things to the table. And like you said, I can compare myself and I can look to somebody else and say, well, but they're already doing this, or how can I do this in a way that's unique? You can do it in a way that's unique because you are unique. You're an incredible individual and you bring special things to the table that no one else does. So how are you going to use that?
Yeah. So your book, which we're going to share with people how to get it, and for you listening, I'm going to implore you to go get it. We're going to have the links in the show notes and all the good things on how to grab it. But also, you are, again, a master coach. So tell us about your business. But I'd also love to know, like, what are some challenges that you faced in your life? And I know that people will find it in the book, but just for those listening right now, like, what are some of the challenges that you've gone through? Because you seem like a powerhouse. Like, we're listening to you and we're like, oh my gosh, Robin's this amazing woman. She wrote a book. She's a master coach. She's gone through 2,500 hours of coaching just to get that certification. That's not easy. She's a rock star. But can you share with us, like, okay, was it a simple journey for you, or did you have some challenges and fears that you had to overcome along the way?
Yeah, not simple, not straightforward, certainly. A lot of work I've put into this person you see before you. As I mentioned, I didn't start out assertive. I didn't start out on purpose, on fire in the world. It's been a journey, and I've certainly fallen down a number of times and had to rethink where my life was going and I've been through some personal tragedy and had a whole 5-year period where I lost both parents. I got divorced. I lost a pet. I lost a job. That's the phoenix that lives in all of us. Is there are times that we are going to be in the fire. And I think even as we look at organizations, because I work a lot with business leaders and have worked with organizations, as we look at our country, our world right now, a lot of us are in the fire. We're in the fire. And can we trust that we have the innate wisdom to pull us through to the other side? And sometimes that takes us stopping and rethinking where we're going or our purpose. And I'm working with so many clients right now. I can't even tell you, Heidi. So many people I talk to, so many clients I'm working with are rethinking their purpose in life and taking a step back and saying, I'm not sure what I've been doing is what I need to be doing going forward. Or I'm just feeling like, yeah, I've reached this point where I'm no longer fulfilled by the things I'm doing in my life. And so whatever is going on in our world right now in the universe, there's a lot of rethinking going on and a lot of revisiting our purpose. And so for me, that's a daily journey, a yearly journey, a lifetime journey. And so yeah, I'm still on it, that's for sure.
So talk about if you can, or if you will, Robin, your coaching. What does it look like to work with you? Who do you
Yeah.
work with? You mentioned organizations, but dive deeper into
Mhm.
who you work with and what it looks like to work with you in your program.
Yeah, I work with both individuals who are serious about personal transformation. So I always make sure that my clients are ready to be on this journey because it's not a passive thing. It is something where we're going to dive in deep. And so if you're ready for that, it's exciting, it's amazing, and it's transformative. And so I love working with individuals who are in that place in their life. I also work with a lot of leaders one-on-one in how to live that out through their leadership within organizations. And so looking at what leadership style best supports that process, how can they support their teams in going through transformative processes? I don't know anybody who's not going through change right now.
Right.
And so part of this is how do we approach that with ease, with grace, with acceptance, but also with action. And so, yeah, I work with a variety of clients on really putting where they are and where they want to be, connecting those dots and really helping them move through a process that does that.
So where can we connect with you? How can we reach out to Robin, learn more about your book? Where can we grab the book and also learn more about your coaching?
Yeah. Well, my website is robin-ferguson.com. So you can find out more about my coaching there. You can connect with me via email through that. You can see the various work that I do. And then also I have information on there about the book, a little snippet of what that's about. And you can also find the book on Amazon, Barnes and Noble, any of the online retailers that you normally go to. It's on Kindle if you want to download it. So any of those, it's out there.
Amazing. And we have all of Robin's information in the show notes. So if you're out there driving right now and you're like, oh my gosh, I got to write this down, we got you. No worries.
Yeah,
If you're,
yeah.
well, we got you. But definitely the first step you should do is go check out the Phoenix effect and go to her website, robin-ferguson.com. But again, we're going to have everything easily available to you inside the show notes. You can also look her up on social. All of our social media links are also in the show notes. If you are watching us on YouTube, thank you. Rob and I appreciate you. Please like it, share it, and also leave a comment for Robin below so she knows that you heard her here. Feel free to ask her any questions. And also there's a button there. It says subscribe. We'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. This allows us to share Robin, her book, her mission, and all of our guests to more people. If you know of anybody that would benefit from reading The Phoenix Effect by Robin and also learning more about her and her coaching, then please share this because we want her to, our goal is to help more women be seen, be heard, be empowered. And Robin really embodies that mission. If you're watching us or listening to us on your favorite podcast platform, thank you. Please like and leave a comment, or actually review. Leave us a review would be great. 5 stars, preferably, if you're feeling compelled. That helps the podcast platforms share this out to more people and help more women empower themselves to be seen and heard through hearing the journeys and stories that our guests are so vulnerably and generously sharing with all of us today, or throughout this podcast. Robin, I have a couple more questions for you, if you don't mind. Can you give us a little, before I let you go, because I know we're running tight on time and I want to be respectful. I think we're getting close. Do you have a little fun fact about Robin behind the scenes that we wouldn't know about you just by going to your website or reading your book?
Yeah, well, I'm also an artist. So my mother was an oil painter. I grew up with art, creativity. I do not do oil paint, but I do alcohol inks and watercolor, and I love to travel and paint. So I belong to a group. We've been to France a couple years. We're going to England and the Cotswolds next year. And so that one, traveling is an amazing way to get outside of your own perspective in your own box. And two, to be with a group of people that are embracing creativity in an unconditional way is just amazing. So, yeah, art is my therapy. That's where I go at the end of the day to just, even if I'm just going to doodle or sketch or something, it's my happy place.
I love it. And my other question is, if you could have lunch with anyone, whether they're deceased or alive, who would it be and why?
Mm. That's such a good question. And I could pick any number of famous people. But if I'm being honest, I would have lunch with my grandson. He's going to be 2 in October. And every minute I get to spend with him is like reawakening to life. If you have the pleasure of having little ones in your life, you just watch them discover and ask questions and explore, and it just reconnects me with that part of myself. And he's just, yeah, he's a love.
Oh, I love that so much. We'll send our love to your grandson. No, I
Yeah.
love that answer. That's the first time I've heard that answer on this show, to be honest.
Mm.
And I think it's fantastic because looking at my kids, they're both teenagers now. And when they're kids, they're just so full of wonder and so full of
Mhm.
curiosity. And I think along the way, we lose that somewhere. I don't know if it comes with
Yeah.
fear or ridicule or something along the way you can start seeing that dwindle. So I would
Yeah.
love, if anybody out there listening to us knows how we can harness that and keep that in our, please share, because I think it's one thing that all of us as adults, we start getting into the must do, have to do more of the reality, which we need to be in, right? Where we get to be responsible, but we do lose a lot of that fun, that joy, that dancing, that curiosity, that we don't care what people think about us. We're living our life that these little 2-year-olds, 3-year-olds to like 5 to 7 have. So
Yeah.
thank you
And
for that reminder.
I really hope people rediscover that through the book as well, because, yeah, you're right. We lose that, and we have to take time to reconnect with that in whatever way is lights you up and brings you joy.
Yeah. So if you're listening for whether I'm sure all of us are always questioning, like, am I on the right path? What is my purpose? What am I doing? And Robin shared with us, most people today are like starting to rethink that. Am I on purpose? Am I doing what I'm really meant to do or even want to do, whether we're meant to do it or not? Like, what do you want to be doing? She just said it. What lights you up? Think about those 3 words or 4 words. What lights me up? Think about that. And if you're wondering, you're like, I don't know, I'm not sure what lights me up, I don't know if I'm on the right path, then go grab The Phoenix Effect, because this is an incredible book. Like I said, I'm full transparency. I've not read the whole book, but I'm telling you, I want more. And I'm not just saying that to say that. I would never say something just to say it. I was in tears. I was smiling. I felt joy. I felt enlightenment. I had aha moments in what I have already read. And I know there's more to come. And the beauty about this book is that it's not just I did this. This is my journey and you should do it too. This is my journey. These are my journey. I'm still on this journey too. Are you willing? And let's be willing together. And also action steps to move you through the process. It's you actually like get to do, like when you're moving through a chapter, you're actually taking time to yourself to go contemplate and write and learn and revisit you from the past. Step into that character of you, what you want, learning more deeply about who you are, who you were, and where you want to go, as well as the other characters in your life, which I loved about that. So thank you, Robin, for taking the time to do this. And thank you for allowing it to be a 10-year mission, giving yourself that space to create this.
Yeah. Thanks for creating a space for me to share it.
Absolutely. Is there anything, Robin, before I let you go, because I know I'm keeping you too long. I love this conversation. This lights me up. So is there anything that you'd like to share, last minute words before that I didn't get to ask you or we didn't touch on today?
I could talk to you all day, Heidi. I just want to say to anybody that's listening, you are a unique and incredible individual. And whatever story you've been told that may have said otherwise, that's a bunch of crap. What is true about you is that you are powerful and unbelievable and undeniable. And so I just invite you to think about that today, because that is what I know.
I love that. What I heard was it's incredible. Let your light shine. Don't be afraid to let your light shine and be the phoenix. Let the old version of yourself that's been holding you back, stop playing small and let the new version of you rise. Right.
Yeah. And love yourself. Love yourself. Yeah.
So
you deserve it.
Thank you, Robin, for being here today. Thank you all for listening to Robin and I. Make sure you go connect with her, robin-ferguson.com. Go purchase on Amazon, The Phoenix Effect. And I look forward to seeing you on the next episode of the Be She podcast. In the meantime, be empowered to be seen and heard.